Hi everyone. It's been a long time. It's been a crazy July. I've been sick, had the thing with my car, got my car back thanks to you guys helping me. I got donations and my paycheck last week, and that all went to getting my car back. And they made it really hard to get it back too, by the way. But yeah, July was hard, but it was made bearable. It was made, I had beautiful moments because of you guys and my friends, and I had Loretta and Jamie, Nancy, and all of you. And let me just say, Nancy sent me this beautiful package. I came home from work and I was worried about my car. Remember, it was the day I had been sick and I was worried about my car. I was like, I gotta make my payment. I gotta make payment. And she sent me this beautiful box of crystals and jewelry and things from her shop that she had with her husband. And I was just so kind of her. I told my son that was the highlight. I don't know how I would have oh yeah, my basement flooded because we had this epic storm and part of my tree fell off, and all this crazy stuff happened in July. But it was made bearable because of beautiful people like you, and I appreciate that with every bit of my heart. I appreciate the kindness. It really did make me have support that got me through July. Because I don't know about you guys, but this July was horrible, except for those beautiful things. I guess you could laugh at it, at the bad stuff that happened. And it was hard. It was hard not getting I paid for my car last Wednesday. I was supposed to be able to get it on Friday, and they kind of gave me the runaround on that. Oh, you have to make an appointment. I did make an appointment, and then, so I couldn't get it until Tuesday, which meant I couldn't go to work all weekend, and I was just devastated. But at the end of the day, I cried. But by Saturday afternoon, I just you know what, I'm going to write. I'm resigned to this. I can't do anything about this, so I'm going to write. And that was really good. And I'm telling you, I've written 7,000. I wrote a bunch, and I'm pretty much got to my goal, which was 50K, and I'm getting to the ending. And so I'm really happy about that. I'm not happy about the circumstances with, my car. And I wrote my job, and we're all good. But, it's just, yeah, I just felt like crap. I just felt devastated. And, but again, many of us have had this stuff in July. Many of us have been through these things, and like I always say, we're all in it together. And never, let's support each other as we're doing. That is beautiful. And speaking of that, I know there's someone out there that I need to contact that asked me for help. So we're all going through things, and just always wish each other well. If you can't do anything, and most of us can't, you can pray for someone, you can wish them well, you can send them good luck, good vibes, protection, abundance, good health. We can all, even your enemies, do that. Say to your enemy, I wish you all the good luck and abundance in the world, but I wish it for me too. Anyway, let's move on to politics. Speaking of enemies, and so yeah, I'm sorry if my channel is always politics, it seems like, and I haven't talked about anything recently. So, but again, I wanted to say Nancy sent me this beautiful package. She sent me crystals and this beautiful Buddha that she said was for money, and she sent me these cute little bags with crystals and some necklaces and beautiful pictures of John Lennon that just, I cried. I opened the envelope and I cried. I literally, I told my son, this means more to me than you'll ever know. I was so touched by those beautiful pictures she sent me. So thank you, Nancy, for that. And thank you, Loretta, for sending me some donation money. That was amazing. And Jamie helping me out, and the sweetheart. Yeah, I've been blessed with my beautiful friends. Thank you with all my heart. Thank you. So, that brings down the energy to talk about politics, but let's do that. Because I thought, I haven't been on, and I don't know how much you guys really rely on me for any of these videos. I don't consider myself to be a great YouTuber and a necessary YouTuber, but maybe some of you want to hear my opinions on these things, I don't know. I will say this, I've been right, or my guides have been right about Trump taking money from Social Security and pensions and all these things. It's just, it's always about the money for him. Sadly, I don't want to be right about those things. But anyway, this last week, okay, so he goes to Scotland, right? Most people in Scotland, most people outside of America, heck, most people in America don't like him. And here's the thing, it's not a new thing. It's not about being disloyal to the president. People have known who Trump is, 45, for a long time. Like, we've all known he's a greedy guy. He stiffed out his contractors and, did things to his ex-wives and cheated on them. And he's just has always been known to be a really greedy, corrupt, for entertainment purposes only, not a great person. Now, a mogul, a entrepreneur, a, TV guy, maybe funny, you could perhaps think that he's funny or has a TV personality. Okay, then that's whatever, that's fine. Famous guy, an icon of something, but not somebody that anyone really likes. He never was somebody that you could ever really like. You could maybe admire or just, follow him as a big star. There's big person like Hulk Hogan, who recently passed, that type of energy. But it's not something you really like. And so it's not a new thing. A lot of us don't just all of a sudden not like him. We've always not liked him because it's just, he's one of those human beings. He's corrupt for entertainment purposes only. But this whole Epstein thing. So he goes to Scotland, and I feel like that was on purpose to allow his lawyers, Pam Bondi and others. He took Caroline Levitt with him, and Pam Bondi says, well, my cornea got scratched, so I'm out. Well, actually, she probably was in the background, licking her wounds, hiding, being quiet, while her and Mike Johnson, under the radar, the Supreme Court and others, under the radar, worked with Ghislaine Maxwell, for entertainment purposes only, to reach some sort of deal, and also to view her private journals and belongings and comb through them, and also try to make a deal for a pardoning and immunity. And that was really suspicious. And I really did feel like Trump, he said he went there for the golf course thing in Scotland, which cost us a massive amount of money that we don't have in America. But I really feel like he went there and it was timing. Like, I'm going to go over here. You guys work this out. You talk to Ghislaine, see what you can get. We'll get this, things will die down. The public will forget. And by the time I get back, it's all going to be cleared over. And everybody will be happy with me again and just forget all this. Well, I'm not ever going to forget. And here's the thing. See what he did. This is what he did. And I've posted this video before. He did exactly this tactic. I've posted this clip. There's a movie with Walter Matthau where it's from like the 60s, where his friend says, I've been cheating on my wife for a while and I recommend it and it's good for your wife. And Walter Matthau's like, well, I'm happily married. I would never do that to my wife. And he says, well, if you don't do it, you're probably going to end up getting divorced. Cheating is good for your marriage. And he's like, I don't want to. And his friend's like, listen, you got to trust me on this. So it set up this whole corrupt thing of Walter Matthau trying to do his friend's bidding and really, living a lie just because he wants to be married. He actually wants to be with his wife. So it's like a roundabout way to be honest when really it's really dishonest. So, but here's the thing. And so his friend tells him, this is how it worked for my friend. And he got caught, but everything was okay. Here's the scene. His friend is caught in bed with his girlfriend. And the wife says, Harold, how could you? And Harold goes, what? And the wife goes, with her. And he goes, who? That girl. What girl? Her in the bed. And then Harold's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, her, that girl. Oh, Harold, how could you? And the wife goes outside of the room and she's like panicking. And you hear her pacing around. And Harold, our marriage. And Harold, how could you? And I trusted you. And all the while she's pacing around and yada. Stress, anxiety. What did I just see? He gets dressed. His girlfriend gets dressed. The girlfriend leaves the apartment. Harold grabs his pipe and his slippers, sits in the chair in the living room, and the wife stops pacing and says, Harold, where is she? Who? That woman. What woman? The one that you were in bed with. What? And the wife goes, what do you want for dinner, Harold? That's exactly what Frump did when he went to Scotland. Exactly. He did the what, who, where. Now, but here's the thing, okay. So, people were asking him questions. Did you know, blah, 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 blah. I don't have anything, and and then Pam Bondi, I don't have the files, and there's no files, and there's all this, but they got him because, and this is where it's really up to us, because we got him. He admitted that on the plane back from Scotland, and he thinks we're just all going to get over it, right? He admitted on the plane to reporters that he had a spa, which to me that's like massage parlor, own personal nightclub, a spa at Mar-a-Lago with underage workers, because they asked him, were these young girls? And he's, yes. And he said, because you remember when he said in front of one of the Scottish leaders, I don't know who he was, and one of the reporters said, what did he say? He said something like, Epstein, why are you mad at Epstein? Or blah, blah, what happened with you and Epstein? And he said, oh, Epstein, because remember before that, he always claimed the reason why he and Epstein fell apart was because Epstein said rude remarks about Ivanka. And that was the story. And it's like, well, that's not likely, because even 45 said rude remarks about his own daughter, about Ivanka. So that doesn't quell well with me. And so they asked, why did you really have an outing with Epstein before, he got nabbed and then he got, passed away in prison and all that stuff. And 45 said, well, it's because he was stealing my workers. He stole my workers. And everybody's like, workers? What does he mean? Is he talking about underage girls? No, we didn't know. But then on the plane back, it literally admitted it. Yes, it was young girls in his spa at Mar-a-Lago, and Epstein stole his workers. Now, what did I read? I read a text that said that the girl, the Joffrey girl that ended up unaliving, which she didn't, most likely, one of the biggest outspoken victims of all, or survivors, she worked at Mar-a-Lago spa and made, I don't know, $1,000-something before Epstein took her. And she's the one that complained the most about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, of their abuses and SA and all of that. So it literally was, 45 admitted it. He admitted to it being underage workers. And that's what the rift between him and Epstein was. Now, Pam Bondi, those photos, she originated there at the Epstein Club, where 45 frequented. He was best friends with Epstein. He and Epstein were best friends. She was part of it. She's part of the ring. Melania was pimped out to 45 via Epstein and Maxwell. Melania, who did naked pictures, was pimped out. These are not the origins of a great first family, and so they're all connected. Now you think about it, and then you see those videos of Ivanka talking about her bedroom and how she sort of gets that body language of let's move on to something else, and you're like, oh my God, was she essayed in her bedroom? Maybe not by her father, but he has said things that make you wonder, but was she pimped out too? And then you think about how the sons are all drugged up all the time, and you go, man, they're really messed up. And you go, well, they probably saw some things. And you just think this whole Frump family is from the Epstein ring, and maybe it wasn't Epstein who was the head honcho. Maybe it's 45 was the head honcho of the whole thing, because he's the last one alive. Right? Epstein's gone. Ghislaine's in prison. And I say a month ago or so, I said, I think the whole reason why Maxwell is still alive in prison is because he was going to use her. He was going to utilize her, because otherwise he would have had her taken out. And I said, I see that he's probably given her, food, the foods that she likes, and she probably has good accommodations, the best that you can have in a high security, prison type of situation. And he's kept her around. And so then you wonder too, okay, so they're all in the ring, even Bondi, they're all in the ring. And who's at the head of everything? Everything. Them. They're all at the head of it. And the files, everything. They're the gatekeepers because they're the ones from the very beginning. So then you go, well, maybe the files that he kept in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago that the government kept asking for, maybe some of those were Epstein files. Maybe that's why and maybe that's why he became president in the first place, because Epstein got arrested. Maybe 45 was tipped off that he was going to be arrested too, so he decided, I'm going to run for office and I'll be immune from everything. And then I'm going to get back in office again and I'll be immune from everything. Okay, so Merrick Garland, I'm just like positive that Merrick Garland has been the one that has helped protect him this whole time. He protected him the entire time. And I had this revelation yesterday that Merrick Garland is probably the one who called and said the election will go toward 45. We'll make sure he wins. And we will not have any recounts. I just feel so strongly that Merrick Garland did that. He made the call. And now he's done, right? Or he's still hiding, but excuse my thing there, but it's very sordid now. So I saw this picture and I'll post it on the community board of, you know how 45, the whole Oval Office looks like a gold, someone spewed gold everywhere, and you're like, wow, that's, you know, that doesn't look anything like the Oval Office. It looks strange, it looks gaudy, it looks, you know, it's just too much. And so I saw this picture today, and it was a picture from Epstein's like great room, and it was his fireplace, and it had the same exact gold leaf decoration on the fireplace and like gilded mirrors and pictures around the fireplace as how 45 has designed the Oval Office. And now he's got all this paving on the Rose Garden, and it, you know what it's starting to look like? The White House looks exactly like Epstein's complex. And I think it's on purpose. And I think that 45 is doing it right in our face, and he thinks we're not going to do anything about it. And then you go, wow, in Florida, they want to make sure that kids work in fields underage. And then they're nabbing kids and girls off streets with people in masks everywhere. And where are they going? For entertainment purposes only. This really is disturbing. This is not just, oh, Kamala lost and blah, 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 and all these things and Project 2.25. This is disturbing. What if it was never about Epstein so much? Well, it was, because the victims say it was. There's a lot about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. But, you know, what if 45 is like the head honcho of it all? What if? And now he's in control of everything. So, well, anyway, okay. I think that's it. That was a lot. So, yeah, there's not much more to add to that. It's really bad, but we're not going to forget. And I think that's the key point. What we need to do is we need to keep pounding this in our head and keep, you know, instead of going back to sleep and being gaslit, we need to keep reminding ourselves that this is happening and this is wrong and this is not okay. And he admitted it on the plane, that he had underage workers in his spa at Mar-a-Lago. Those are key words that he said. I'm not making them up. He said it himself. I had underage girls working in my spa at Mar-a-Lago, and Epstein stole my girls. And we need to keep repeating that. And then go look at the photograph of Epstein's fireplace and look at the Oval Office and tell me that that's not just right in front of our face. He's directly emulating Epstein. So, the good news. South Park has another episode coming out. I mean, that was crass humor, the one from last week. But I laughed, but I also like cringed, and I was like, well, this is necessary. This is necessary. This is when humor is really useful as a tool. And I thought it was ingenious, really, how they did that episode. And then the other one's coming out, and it's about the whole ICE thing for entertainment purpose only. And interesting commentary, satire about it. Oh, and then Matt Groening, who did The Simpsons, who's predicted, he's like an oracle, a walking oracle. And by the way, before The Simpsons, Matt Groening did a lot of cartoon strips. He did Life is Hell, Life is Hell, or Life in Hell, or whatever, with his bunny. And then his two gay Akbar, which I always thought those were funny. And then he just did a lot. Like Matt Groening has done a lot of cartoons before and during The Simpsons. But he's like an oracle of things, and he predicted here recently that 45 wasn't going to be around much longer, which is what I predicted too. Again, I don't wish ill will on anyone, but I can see it, and I don't think his health is doing very well. And what's the other thing? Well, I was going to say, I may have already said this, but the whole swollen leg thing. I think I have said this, but the whole swollen leg thing. When my mother passed, and we're coming up on the anniversary of her passing. We found out she had cancer. A month later, she was gone. Okay. I took her. She called me. I remember, and she was like, "Oh," and I had taken her to heart appointments at the hospital for just like regular, like her heart wasn't doing great. They had her on medicine, yada yada. And I remember she had like no muscle left in her arm, and I was like, "Oh God." I remember thinking to myself, "Oh my God." Well, I mean, my mother. I could feel that her body was breaking down. And I was like, push it away, don't think about that. And the doctor said, because she said at the doctor's office, my belly is swollen, I don't have an appetite, and I, can't defecate, and my legs are swollen, and everything's swollen, and my chest feels like it's all like filled up all the time. And she said, I think it's his heart medication, and I want to go off the heart medication. And he said, okay, we'll take you off that one, we'll put you on this other one. And then and come back and we'll do a scan here. And she didn't go back to the scan. I was going to take her and she didn't want to go. And then it was like just that week later after 4th of July when she called me and said, Amy, please take me to the ER. And I said, okay, I'll take you to the ER. She thought she had pneumonia. So take her to the ER, and we're there for hours and hours and on a Saturday. And then they come in and they do an x-ray, and then the doctor comes in and says, well, I hate to break this news, but you have stage 4 cancer and it's in your lungs. And it's like, that's when your world ends, when you hear that statement, right? You're like, oh my God, no. And then you start going, okay, I'm going to manifest healing, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But Spirit showed me over and over again it was over, and her time was going to end in a while. And then it became my point to advocate for her. My point being, she had swollen legs. She had all these symptoms that 45 has. She had bruising. She had all those things. And it wasn't just her heart. It was, but it also was cancer. And I find it ironic, not good, because again, I don't wish bad on anyone, but I find it ironic how President Biden was brave enough to announce that he had cancer, and I can't remember the name, but prostate cancer, and that he was going to get healing, treatment, all that stuff. He was brave enough to announce that. And then 45 said, oh, I'm glad he got it, and I don't feel bad for him, yada, yada, yada. He deserved it. Oh, and it would be ironic, and I don't wish it on him, but it would be ironic if 45 himself actually has cancer, because that's what I kept thinking of when they announced his whole thing with his legs and his swelling in his leg. I was like, yeah, it's probably not just a heart issue. It's a vein issue. It's probably something bigger, like my mother. And here's the other thing. The other day, like this whole thing with these volcanoes and this earthquake and the tsunamis, and I thought, ooh, something in the universe is really like changing. And I thought, is Uten ready to pass? Because that's, he has such a hold on, like psychically and energetically, he has such a hold on things, even like nature, that it wouldn't surprise me if, as he starts to fade, everything that he's had a grip on starts to just implode with him. And that's not saying he's some god that's like, you know, oh no, we're dying, the earth is dying because this great guy is passing away. No, it's like he's had so much control over everything that as he goes, all that control he has is like literally shifting tectonic plates in the earth. And it really makes you wonder. I really feel that. I feel like he and 45 are starting to fade. It may not be next, you know, some people are saying August. Again, I don't wish it. But I feel it. I feel that. I feel like they're starting to fade, and it's the earth is reacting. Like the universe is reacting. Okay, anything else? I don't know. Just think positive things. I've been really dizzy lately, and I wonder if it's probably still from my sickness. But I also wonder if there's something in the universe that's just shifting so rapidly and so drastically that it's causing me to be dizzy. But also, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is another one of my heavy, crazy videos, but I thought I would just kind of explain what I think's going on with 45 and his connection to Epstein. And I really do feel like Scotland was a diversion, so we would forget. And so, and it would all wash over and the gaslighting happens. And then he comes back and everything's fine. Everything's fine. Oh, and meanwhile, Ghislaine Maxwell gets a pardon. And they've got information from her private files that they pick through her things, right? And look what we're protecting. Oh, and that's the other thing, the lasting image. Someone said the other day, they said, it was on TikTok, they were like, you know, when I see a Trump flag or like a MAGA hat, I instantly now think, oh, it's a pedo symbol. That's what, and it's like, you know, me too. So I wonder if, because it is, because they're willing to agree to this. I know they keep saying Bill Clinton. Listen, we're ready to throw Bill Clinton in the volcano if that's what it takes. Because if he's guilty, he's guilty. Like, he's always had a sexual addiction. We're not trying to save Bill Clinton, not at all. We want all of the truth. We want the truth to come out. But yeah, the whole thing, I wonder if MAGA will do the same thing. If they'll look at their hats, their red hats, or their flags, and they'll go, you know, this ain't such a good look. And they'll either change it, and now they'll just wear hats with flags on it, or, you know, like the American flag, or just not wear them anymore, not fly the flags anymore, because it's stained. It has stained all of that. Because that's what they accepted. They really need to come to the truth, which that's still going to be a while. And never forget this, a lot of what you see online is bots. So we have ChatGPT, which sounds a lot like a real person arguing with you. And if you type something like MAGA or Trump, and they even know our code words for those things, I feel like there are programs, and I think of Grok AI, that sends out these attack bots all over the place. There's so many of them. And they go out and you think, wow, look at all these Trump supporters. Wow, there's a lot of them out there, and they're like really, and they're trying to make their valid points, right? Illegals, all the stuff. I figured it out. It's a whole bunch of AI bots. And, you know, when 45 had his parade, did people show up? No, they didn't. They did not. He does not have a huge base as what he makes you think. And those are bots all over the internet. So don't be fooled. Yes, he does still have his followers. Yes, he does. We know that. But it's not the way that he makes you think. It's not as many as he makes you think. Anyway, this is long. I'm going to go. Thank you again for your love and support. Thank you. If anyone would like a reading, you know, I do angelic cards. I do past life. I do spirit guides, loved ones from heaven, and then just your basic Celtic cross. I can do that for you. Also, if you just, you know, I'll send you love and prayers. I've always do that. So, but if you need a mention, if you need any prayers, I can totally do that. So anyway, thank you. Take care and have a wonderful evening. Bye.